Hi there, my name is Neil Blevins, and this video is called Creating Orthographic Reference Images in Blender. So a few months ago I posted a similar video for 3ds Max, but considering I'm now mostly teaching in Blender, this was a topic important enough to make a separate video for. So pick whichever video you want depending on your 3D tool of choice. So onto the video. Something I have to do frequently is to make a model of an object for which I have orthographic reference images, but that's it. Basically, I have a front view, a side view, and a top view, and I need to make a 3D model that matches the reference. So this video is a quick demo on how to go about doing that inside of Blender. And the basic process is, number 1, break up the ortho reference into separate images. Number 2, in Blender, use image planes to place the reference images in 3D space and make those planes unselectable. And number 3, create my model using a partly transparent material. Okay, so for this live demo, I'll be using my Testudo spaceship design. Now, of course, I already have a 3D model of this, but imagine you love this ship and you want to make your own 3D fan model of it, and all you have are these 3 orthographic images. So we'll start off by making our 3 separate ortho images. I'll just duplicate this layer, and let's start with the top view. So I will grab this and crop it, have a little border around here, and just to get rid of that last little bit here, let me get rid of that. Now, I want this to be centered properly, and so what I will do is I will make a little selection here, and that selection is about centered. And then if I pull it over to the other side, I can see that it's not perfectly centered. This is more perfectly centered here. And so what I'll do is I'll select the rest of this side, and then I'll crop that. And now it should be perfectly centered. And of course, if you want to do this with, more exact with very specific tools, feel free, but usually this is close enough for me to get what I need. And then now let's save this top view. There we go. So now let's work on the front view. And what I'm going to do is I will select this, copy it, and paste it into here. And I want to make sure that this matches in terms of the number of pixels. So what I do here is I bring this down. And if you look at the ship, this ship is a little bit smaller. The front view is smaller in terms of number of pixels than the full-size ship. So I want to fix that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale this a little bit. And another way you can sort of be sure on this is if you look at like this engine here and this engine here, you want this to be matched up, which again seems to be pretty good there. So yeah, I think that's going to look pretty good. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because these orthographic images are for reference, but as close as possible is a good thing. So what I will do is I will select this whole thing, do a crop, and then I will control-click this image here, which is the top one, and then do a crop on that. And so now we have a front view, and notice that the width of the front view here is identical to the width of the top view, which is going to be important later on. So I'll show you that in a minute. But in the meantime, let's save this guy as front. Okay. Okay, now I want to do the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the side here and paste it into the top view. And let's rotate it so that it matches. And what I want to do is make sure, of course, that the distance from here to here matches the top view. So let me bring this down in opacity, and I'll put that down there and transform this up. So that's decent. Okay, so that's pretty matched there. And then let me rotate this to be in the direction that I want. So we now know that the distance from here to here is the same as the top to bottom distance on the top. And let me just erase this stuff here. So we're good on the side here, except what we also want is we want the distance from here to here to be identical to the distance from here to here on the front view. So let me just copy this. And I'll put this guy in here, reduce its opacity down so we can match it. And there you go. That is now pretty closely matched. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And so if we look here, if I control click on here, we can see that that's what the crop is supposed to be, except we also want the parts that are here and here. And so what I will quickly do is I will add those parts. I think we need one more pixel there. That's good. And then do the same over on the other side. Just shave that right there. There. Okay, and now we'll put this up to full intensity and we'll get rid of it, and that's the crop we want. There you go. And so now we will save this as side view. Now one final sanity check. We're just going to look here and we can see that this is 1488 across and 1800 high. And we can see this is 1488 across and 577. And then this one should be that 577 and the 1800 wide. So we're good. We now have these all matched up in terms of sizes, and we also have the individual images matched in terms of pixel width and height. Okay, here we are inside of Blender, and in the 3ds Max version, I wrote a Max script to automate a bunch of this process for me. But I haven't done that inside of Blender yet, so I might at some point. But until then, let me show you the manual way. So I'm going to go to Add, and then Image, and then Mesh Plane. And I'm going to pick the front, and then there's a couple different things here. First of all, there is Material, and there are 3 different ones. There's Principled, Shadeless, and Emission. And Principled is a regular material, and Shadeless is the one we're going to use, and that one makes sure there's no shadows on the surface. And then Emission is similar, but it actually glows. But we're just going to take Shadeless. And then down here under Transform, under Size Mode, what we're going to choose is we're going to choose Pixels per Blender Unit. And we're going to use this for all 3, and that will make sure that they're all the correct size in the actual scene. So I turn that on, and then under Align, since this is the front view, I'm going to pick positive Y, and then Import Plane. So there we go. We now have our plane, and you'll notice there's nothing on it, and that is because we are in solid mode. So let's move over to texture mode or rendered. Both will work. Okay, now that that's in there, let's add the next one. So I'm going to go back to Image, go to Mesh Plane, and I'm going to take Side. And I'm going to keep everything else the same, except instead of plus Y, I'm now going to use plus X. And you can see that's now over on this side. Now, in order to do this properly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this, because we want to move this into sort of a box shape, and you'll see that in a second. And you can use snaps if you want to get this exact, but moving it like this is probably good enough, again, considering this is already sort of, not necessarily pixel perfect. So, okay, so those 2 are there, and now let's go and we're going to add the final one, and we're going to go to Mesh Plane, and we're going to pick Top. And this one, again, leave everything the same, except for under Align, I'm going to pick the positive Z-axis. And now let's drag that guy down to right there. And now we have our box. And last thing is that when we're building with this, we want to make sure that we can't accidentally select this background thing. We want to just select the objects in here. So the way to do that is you have these 3 objects, and if you go up here under Filters, there's a filter called Selectability. And if I turn that on, you can see that filter has now been added here. And what happens is if I turn this off in these 3 different guys, I can no longer select them in the view. So they're just there for reference, and now we're going to build our thing inside of here. Okay, now finally, let me just show you how I'd go about modeling this. So let's say that I wanted to start off with the wing. I would make a object like a cube, and let's go to the top view. And then you can see the problem here. The problem is I can't see through this object to the image below. There's a couple different ways of fixing that. One way is to create a new material on my cube and then to take the alpha down so I can see through it while still seeing some of the cube. Now you'll notice that here there is this dithering, this noisy thing going on. And so the way to fix that is to go under settings and under render method, instead of dithered, just to choose blended. And that's a much better view of what's going on underneath. And then I would go to edit mode and X-ray, and I would start building the wing using regular modeling techniques. So drag this over here, do a loop cut here, then probably move that over in this spot. And once I got it sort of following the top pretty well, I would then go around and start editing it from other views to match what I have going on from the front and side view. And then I do this for each and every object that makes up the final model. So thank you very much. I hope you found this interesting. And please go to neilblevins.com and go into the art lesson section if you want to see a whole bunch of tutorials like this. And if you want to be notified the next time I post a new video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much.